All right, so got to talk about this real quick. It's not going to be the regular content. It's not going to be poker, blackjack, or a slot meme. In the past, I've made videos like this, and I've actually made one about Samsung. And this one is also about Samsung. The one in the past, I was actually able to stick it to them in a particular manner, and I'm glad. And I think more people need to do that and do this. But something happened, and instead of keeping it business, I took it personal, and I wound up being able to pull one of their large contracts, which is millions out the door for them a year. So I'm proud of myself. I was able to do that. Now, I was still a Samsung fan, even though I did that, and even though I took it personal, I had to hit them back some type of way. They caused it on themselves. Now today I was having a conversation with someone, and I told you these videos aren't scripted. It's usually I'll be in deep thought, or I'll be having a conversation, and some of these videos just come about. That's what happened today. I met a person. They're just talking to me, traveling. I'm traveling, talking to me about the phone. They say, hey, is that the 7? I tell them no, I didn't switch to the 7. I've been thinking about switching companies, not because the product really sucks. It's just the people suck. Samsung people suck. Not particularly the users, but the customer care, things like that, just suck. Plus, I'm an S Pen user. I use the S Pen. 7 doesn't have the S Pen. 6 does, so I'm sticking with it. They asked me a few more questions because I also had an iPhone. They asked me about that. Then we went back to Samsung, and I was like, "Yeah, so have you had issues with the inner screen?" I was like, "Nope." But then I thought about it. I was like, well, I have, but not really so much the screen, just a screen protector. And I told him, and as I'm starting to talk to him, I'm like, you know what? Out of the last 4 of the 5 that I've had, it seems like before the year mark comes, the screen protector starts to fail. In the inside, it works. It starts at the top and it works its way on down to the bottom. And I start putting things together. I'm like, why does it? I'm just thinking about this in my head as I'm talking. I'm like, it makes sense because that creates more replacement money for them. Because if you leave, and a lot of people did this, and at one point there was a lot of people complaining about the inner screens going out because they were leaving the screen protectors that would start to bubble up and peel off on. And I've even done it. But then I realized, if I do that and close it the wrong way and it pinches, like it pushes itself in, that's going to create an issue. It's going to break the screen. That's a wrap. As I'm talking to the guy, I'm thinking, that's what I'm just, I'm starting to put things together in my head. So I tell him about, the inner screen protector, but I tell him, I usually just peel it off, and I usually had free replacement, so I would just go to a authorized or place that Samsung has to get it replaced. But around the Note 6, I think that sort of stopped because I wound up going and looking because I had to just recently peel it off before the year mark, and I went to go see if I had a free replacement. There was no free replacement in sight at all. So, I told him about that, and as I'm telling him about that, I start thinking about another issue that I have, and it's usually around before the next Fold comes out. I'll get an update. Once I get an update, the weirdest thing happened, and this is the weird thing that happens, and it just happened to me because I had just left I was just leaving Wyoming, making my way down south, and I stopped at a hotel, woke up, phone was charged. The phone was plugged up, but it wasn't charging. And I'm like, that's weird. Usually it does do, it has this little pause mode where, if it gets to 100, it'll stop itself from charging. But it wasn't doing that either. So I'm like, okay. So I unplugged it, plugged it back in, nothing. I'm like, please don't tell me this, because I'm traveling. This is my main driver at the moment. I do use an iPhone as well, but where I was located, I couldn't really use an iPhone. Well, the service that the iPhone has. So I just flipped the cord over like a 180 and then plugged it in, and it worked. It did say fast charging, but within a few seconds, it would just went from fast charging, super fast charging, to just regular charging. And I seen the hours go up. It said like 5 hours and something. I'm like, what the fuck? And so I'm playing with the cord, and I didn't want to bend it because I didn't want to break it and make anything worse. So I'm like, damn, like this can't just be happening. So whatever, I'm dealing with it, slow charging. And it's like this for like, 2 weeks. And again, mind you, this is not the exact date of the 7 coming out, but a little bit after the 7 came out. So eventually I get used to it. I get another update. And again, as I'm talking today, it hits me because I'm at the airport and I'm charging my phone through a battery bank. It's plugged in and it's reading fast charging, and fast charging does not go away. So I'm like, that's strange. So then I take the cord out, I flip it 180, and I plug it back in. Bingo, it's charging. But before, it wasn't allowing me to do that. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So again, I'm having this conversation with this guy, but I'm just doing backflips in my head as I'm talking because I'm just starting to realize stuff. So long story short, as I'm realizing this, I started to tell him, some of the things or realizations that I'm actually having as I'm speaking. And I flipped the cord around a few more times as well, like as I'm talking to this guy, and I'm pretty sure this guy got to be going crazy, but I'm not. I'm thinking I am, but I'm not. So, and it's working fine. And I just realized, it's working fine. So I'm trying to think of, anything that recently happened, because it's like I didn't get it fixed because I thought that's what I was going to have to do, because I could not take slow charging like that. And even when I first realized this, like weeks ago, I've changed cords. I changed charger ports, charging bricks, and it was doing the same thing. And every time, like, it had to be plugged in a certain way. Both sides was not charging it. It was only one side that would charge it, and it would do the slow charging. So I'm sitting there, I'm flipping it back over, just messing around with it, and it's working fine. So I could come to the realization that when they do these updates towards the around the time a new phone is coming out, like the Fold7, they're doing something to these updates that are making it seem like people are having hardware issues, and it's not really hardware issues. And I started thinking back, like, this happened to me when I had the Fold5, the Fold4, the Fold5, and now with the Fold6. The very first Fold that I had, it didn't happen that way. The screen protector, yes, but not the charging issue. So the reason I'm telling you guys this is just to get it out there, but also just ask, are any of you other Fold users or any other Samsung users having the same issue? It doesn't necessarily have to be a Fold. It can be any phone. And as I was also thinking, like, the last few notes that I had, it did the same thing. But it just wasn't a big enough problem at the time because, again, I have multiple phones, so but I recently cut back to just 2 phones because carrying multiple phones is just crazy, especially at this time. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. I just wanted to ask, but also just wanted to share.